Time for Nick to face the doorstep challenge.
About the news you've heard, your reaction to the news about Mr. Michael, a very close friend of yours.
I'm very, very shocked. Very, very shocked. I've just heard the news. I knew absolutely nothing about it.
Meanwhile, Christine's chosen to deliver her statement in a prime ministerial broadcast.
I'm very sorry to hear the news about Lewis Michael.
We in no way condone drug use, and I think our record speaks on that.
In fact, I have said many times that drugs is a scourge on our society.
But people have their weaknesses, and if people have their weaknesses, it's our duty to help them as best we can, and that's what I should do to a friend.
I was not aware that he was using illegal drugs.
You're a very, very close friend of his. Have you ever felt yourself with him?
Certainly not. I mean, like I said, I knew absolutely nothing about this. I'm absolutely shocked and stunned by the news.
However, I do wish Lewis a very speedy recovery.
I do not condone in any way the use of drugs. I can't make that any clearer.
You feel you failed to persuade them, Prime Minister?
Prime Minister?
You feel you failed to persuade him, Prime Minister? He certainly carried himself like he was our Prime Minister. The consistent argument was impressive. I found the way he met the people he spoke to in there very impressive. 6.5?
Will Mr. Michael be arrested? I think on the fuel crisis, he's still around a 5 or a 6, but overall, I think as a Prime Minister meeting and greeting people, I'd give him an 8 or a 9.
Oh, it was okay, Simon.
God, that was really scary from my point of view, I have to say. There's just so many things that can go wrong. When that woman just started going, I have to say, Prime Minister, I don't agree with you, and I was just thinking, someone dropped something in her teeth, God's sake.
Nick's made a small game, but Christine's still in the lead.
This is XFM. Top stories this hour. Well, there's no end in sight for the fuel crisis. Panic buying of bread and milk in many areas has left supermarket shelves empty. Sainsbury's say they have only 2 to 3 days of fresh food left.
Nick's on his way for a lunch appointment with Janet Street Porter. It's a chance for him to get a newspaper editor on side. Simon suggests flattering her about her appearance on Mastermind.
Her specialist subject is going to be British teapots, 1735 to 1970.
You are joking.
No, apparently this is completely serious, and apparently she is an acknowledged expert on British teapots, so I'm sure if you're struggling for conversation at any point, bring up British teapots, and I'm sure she can speak for hours on that.
Lobby journalists are given Tony Blair's latest thoughts twice a day by Downing Street's press office. But from time to time, editors and publishers are invited to hear them from the man himself.
Right, please, take a seat. I've just heard something very interesting about you, and I'm not sure if it's true or not. I'm not sure if it's a wind-up.
Well, don't say anything that's going to annoy me at the beginning.
Teapots.
Yeah?
Mastermind.
Yes.
Is that true?
I did go on Mastermind on the subject of teapots because in 1973 I wrote a book about teapots,
right.
And I was a creditable second on Mastermind. But if you're gonna
Having brought the subject up, Nick then wishes he hadn't.
What would your special subject be anyway, Prime Minister, if you were on Mastermind?
I've always actually wondered that, and I've got.
Well, you must have a special subject, some secret.
Some secret. Music, yeah, well, possibly music.
Nothing spiritual.
What was sort of Buddhism from the 11th to 13th century? Sadly not. That's the kind of subject I'd like to have.
Like
Teapots to Buddhism in under a minute. This conversation could go anywhere.
She gave me a bit of a hard time, but I don't think it was. I think the whole point of the meeting was that I wanted to hear her views and try and get her on side, and I felt some of the things I dealt with reasonably well. So that was okay.
He was charming. He seemed very approachable, pretty well informed on a whole wide range of subjects.
Back in Downing Street, meanwhile, Christine has a meeting with someone else from the press, Simon Hattenstone from The Guardian, catching her on the defensive.
Your poll is the lowest it's ever been. What do you do this job for? Do you ever wonder?
I do this job because obviously I believe in my job, and obviously I'm here because I want to actually help people. And I'm in this role as Prime Minister to ensure the country runs smoothly, and that you know, that the voters that voted for me, you know, have everything that they want.
There's no petrol. It looks as if there's going to be no food. There are blockades. The country is very quickly coming to a stop. Do you not wake up in the morning and think, what have I done? What have I done in this job to allow it to get like this?
Firstly, I would like to say that we are very much in control, and to reassure people that the crisis is coming to an end. In terms of the petrol, we are doing everything that we can to make sure that the petrol gets to the right people first. I thought it was going to be quite a soft interview, and I got grilled like a cheese sandwich. He's horrible.
You say your lifestyle is irrelevant, except you're the Prime Minister, you're ours. We have a right to know.
I think you have a right to know that I live a decent life, and that yes, you have a right to know to a degree, because I am public property.
Yeah.
But I think there's a very fine line, and that line shouldn't be crossed.
I wouldn't dare. I think she got slightly flustered when she was asked about her personal life. I think her private secretary was wrong to intervene at that stage.
Okay,
Prime Minister, that's been...
Can
I just get...
I'm sorry, we really do have to drag her away. Thanks,
Simon, it has been lovely. Thank you very, very, very
Good luck,
much.
Prime Minister. I'd give her 8 out of 10 because she gave me a frustrating interview, which is a sign of a good and modern politician.
Janet's testing Nick's willingness to be an unpopular Prime Minister if his views were not shared by voters.
So you're not prepared, just let me get perfectly clear about it. If something's popular, you're not prepared to stand against it and say, as Prime Minister, I know best. It might be a bitter pill to swallow, but I'm going to take a stand here.
I am perfectly prepared to put up with some level of unpopularity as the price of leadership.
Well, you are, you know, you have suffered a bit recently anyway. He certainly is intelligent as half the House of Commons, so that's not a problem there. If I'm going to mark him out of 10, 5.5.
Well, that low score from Janet for Nick means an even bigger lead for Christine.
Notice all hospitals must be able to cancel everything else and treat only emergency cases.
The Health Secretary ordered all regions to put in place emergency...
One in Northumberland, 70 vehicles took part in a protest which lasted 3 hours.
No tankers have left the depot since Saturday morning, and police say they've no plans to break the blockade.
Are being prepared. 80 of them are being deployed across the country and will be used for deliveries to hospitals and other essential services.
Christine looks shocked as she arrives on a visit to a community transport scheme in Hackney, a visit she hopes she can turn into a favourable photo opportunity. What she wasn't expecting was a media pack determined to ask about the fuel crisis. This will be a real test. Will she keep her cool?
Out of the training bit and have a look at how the training programmes work to start with.
Prime Minister, Prime Minister, what are you going to do about it? Prime Minister!
It's quite strange actually, because you know, you start off thinking, oh my God, what am I going to say? What am I going to do? How am I going to react? And then the more you sort of relax into it all, it's like, yeah, hi, hello, nice to meet you. And you sort of have that inbuilt reaction that, you know, someone's calling out Prime Minister and you automatically react.
This community organisation prides itself on training bus drivers from socially excluded groups like the long-term unemployed and disabled. Christine escapes onto a training vehicle to chat to the project leaders, and she's more than happy the media don't have a bus pass to join her.
And how long would it actually take for you to actually train someone?
It takes 14 weeks, and we do that because many of our trainees... I thought she gave a credible performance in terms of how she coped and just cut off from the press there and focused on what she was talking about.
8.
I'm happy with 8.
Nick's meeting with a disgruntled backbencher is with Keith Vaz.
Let me be mother. What will you have? Do you want sugar?
Yes, one sugar, please. Makes a change.
I mean, since you came to office, we have done, in my view, everything according to what we said we would do. And your popularity has been, milk?
Yes, please.
Has been very high. And the things that we've done, we've not promised things that we haven't been able to deliver. But now, I'm afraid, people are getting very anxious. He looks a bit like the Prime Minister, so it threw me somewhat. The last GMC meeting was the worst, I think, in my 25 years in politics. I've been to some pretty awful ones in the mid-1980s, screaming at us, screaming at me because I'm supporting you.
And you don't feel that we can turn them around by saying to them, look, we have got relatively low taxation compared to the rest of Europe. We are spending extra on schools and hospitals. The money that we are raising from fuel tax is going to pay for improved transport over the next 10 years.
No, we can't say that because it's not getting through. He listened very intently, and he kind of made you feel as if you were the only person in the world for that 5 or 10 minutes that you had with him. And those are two very important qualities in a Prime Minister.
Yeah, I think you go away thinking, that was all right, the guy listened.
I'd give him a 9 out of 10.